Hi, this is Cecilia from Tarot by Cecilia, and this is your weekly tarot guidance for the week of September 11th through the 17th of 2017. Now, normally, every week you hear me say, what's going on? This is retrograde, and that's doing that, and none of those things, all right? We don't have a full moon this week. We don't have a new moon this week. We're past eclipse season. We do, however, still have Mercury in shadow. And we are fast approaching the equinox, which will be either the autumnal or spring equinox, depending upon where you live. But that's not this week. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because you remember when we started this portion of the story, we were talking back in February, March about equinox to equinox, from like getting from from March the 20th to September 22nd. So we're almost there. We're in that home stretch. And with each passing day, you're getting further away from Mercury retrograde. And that helps a great deal. So that's almost over with as well. Now, the doors, they're starting to open, but it's almost like you're controlling it. You're making it happen. And these doors are ones that are opening like it's a whole new cycle that's beginning right now. We have talked for such a very long time about this new identity that's emerging, this new you, and yeah, you're seeing it now. You're totally getting it. And I think that there has been an incentive in the last few weeks to do many things that really would benefit you, and to help you feel better, to help you look better, to help your finances, your job, your life in general, like everything. It's just this whole new persona is emerging. And the story doesn't stop here. I truly feel, and I may have said this somewhere before, I don't know if it was on a sun sign video or if it was on another weekly, but I'm thinking that by the time the new moon rolls around in October, and I don't remember what that date was, but that's where you feel like, like you've taken back control of your life. Because it'll be like, here, we have Halloween on the 31st. The Halloween decorations will definitely be up, and you'll be like, wow. How you could look at if you could look at your life from above, and you'd be saying, look at what I've done. Look at what I have accomplished. And I'm in charge of my life now. You're taking back your power. And, that's in these coming weeks. So this new cycle that you're in this week, this is a wonderful thing. Okay, it really, truly is. That's what I said. Your new identity, let's get that out now, is beginning to emerge. And you're not so focused anymore on what was lost. It's kind of like all water under the bridge at this point. Your focus now is really on taking what remains and saying, what can I concoct? What can I come up with? Like you put this together, you put that together. You'd be surprised how much you have to work with. The moment you stop focusing on everything that went wrong in the last 5 years and start focusing on what you do have right now that's positive in your life, boy, what you can make happen. Things are getting a little bit easier each day, and that's a really good thing. So, you're going to do a careful assessment of the status quo itself, because you really need to, figure out, what are you creating? And what I really like here is that you're taking that feeling, and it's been with you for a long time, where you have felt betrayed in your life. And it doesn't have to be by people. You might just feel betrayed by life in general. And you're turning that into abundance. You're working on it. This is September, October, November. I think I've said this many times. You're going to feel a little more like you can relax. Like, wow, look how far I have come. So, you're gaining, I feel like, freedom from the betrayal. that you're really just setting yourself free from it once and for all and leaving the stress behind and beginning to move forward. So you are well on your way. And I do think that you must be able to see it by now. There might be those having their moments like, why can't I have this right now? You know, believe me, it's coming. You're working on it. You're moving in the right direction. And this is good. And I think that you're, as far as resources are shared as well. And you could find yourself, possibly involved with new groups of people that are emerging as part of this new identity that's forming, this new you. All right. And it's not sharing like giving away everything that you have, but if you have overcome, so that's how I see it. It's like you've overcome all this stress and you've overcome all of this hardship. And, maybe you kind of want to tell your story. There are some out there who have said, yes, you're right. I am writing a book about all of this. And then there are those who are able to, take their experiences and share them with others in such a way as to let them know, that the hard times don't last. And indeed, they do change. So that's a good thing. It really, it's not just about fixing your life and having a new life. It's about who you're becoming as a person, as a human being. And it really is, it's amazing to me. All right. So I think that, as far as people go, you're aligning yourself with, whether it's personal or business or whatever, a much better group of people. Okay. And I think it gives a more solid existence for you if that is something that you've been seeking. And most definitely you've been seeking change. And what I'm also seeing here is that many of you are really starting to get in tune with those, different phases of the moon as well as the placements of the moon. And I've talked about this several times. And I talk about it because I even notice it with my own self. Some days I just have better days and I'm in the right frame of mind. I get more done. And I always say, watch to see where the moon is. What sign do you do well in? Obviously, if Mercury's retrograde at the same time, or maybe the moon goes void of course, you may not feel as productive. But you're going to see that, and I say by the new moon. Now, we have one coming up, and that will be, I guess, next week. But I'm more inclined to think that you're really reaping your rewards come October. All right, because I kind of think you're at the beginning of this new cycle right now. And things are, all the steps that you're taking. Remember that list? And we talked about the list. And the list was from equinox to equinox. All these things that you were trying to do in your life. And you've been checking them off as you went along. There's nothing here but success and more security that's coming for you. So, I'm thinking that you're at the point where what I'm saying, you should be very much understanding. Okay? There's more of a solid footing that's here come this week. And it might be where you finally feel like, how I always talk about, turbulence or whatever. Let's say, I talked about being on a buoy and you're just holding on, during eclipse season and everything. And not to get into next week, but next week we do have our Virgo new moon. And things are really moving forward at that time. Okay? You will be free not only of eclipse season, but you'll be free of Mercury's shadow at the new moon. And things just become brighter. The equinox is 2 days later. So, this is it. If you're sitting there this week with a little bit of doubt about, okay, I'm not quite where I want to be. I think you know how to get there. I think you know what you need to do. But your really forward movement is going to come when we talk about this next week. I'm sure it's all going to be here. Because I'm telling you, you're taking that list. You are checking things off. And, everything in recent weeks that has happened has given you all of the necessary encouragement to enact your plans and to make good choices. So you've been working diligently at this. You really truly have. You know, to some people, what you consider like what would be your happiness, you know, it lies on the other side of this plan, right? And many people might think, well, you're a bit of a dreamer, but you're a dreamer who's been working very hard at his or her dreams. And that makes a huge, huge difference. Okay. Challenges? No. I think you really don't feel so daunted by much of anything these days because it's not as confusing. With each passing day, that confusion is subsiding. So you're seeing clearer what it is that you need to do to manifest what you want. And what you want is, you know, a happy life, a fair life, a balanced life, and one that feels overall secure. And I'm seeing something interesting here that I want to mention, okay? You know that saying they have a wise old owl, right? Well, I'm kind of thinking here that there could be someone, they don't have to be really, really old, but they could be older than you. Or perhaps they have a life that has just been very rich in experiences. And I'll tell you what, there is no better teacher than having experienced life itself. Because whether it was good or bad, you take away so much. And, you know, you could at some point find yourself in the position of, you know, teacher, someone giving guidance, whatever. But I'm seeing this as part of the theme of the week here, you know, with being able to, you know, seek out someone who can offer good advice. And the timing of it is what is really, really important. It's almost downright karmic, okay? And this advice leads to tremendous emotional success. I'm liking this, all right? You see, we've been talking for a while about how your life was just like basically being reborn, and you know how your whole demeanor has changed in such a way that you're having a totally new perspective on life. So you see, your wishes are coming true. They may not all happen this week or this month, but boy, they are definitely happening. And relationships are very much a part of it. Could they be love relationships? That's a possibility. It could be, you know, meeting that person or reassociating yourself with a person where it becomes that. I don't think it's something that starts that way. But, you know, the right mindset is what needs to be there. And this is one of those things that, you know, I talk to people about all the time. And when they come to me, you know, and they have many problems, and they have all these problems, but they want to know, well, what about my love life? When is there going to be someone? Well, you know, you're not that other person's project to come along and fix, all right? You've done all of this on your own. You've fixed yourself. You've fixed your life. And now what has happened is you're putting yourself in a position where you can actually attract someone where you can have a nice life with them. And that may be difficult to understand until you reach that point, but I think in hindsight you'll totally get what I've been talking about. However, whatever's going on with relationships, it seems to be important at this time to just do that, you know, plain it easy kind of thing. None of this head over heels stuff or whatever. I'm sure that we'll come to it at some point where those who are involved in new relationships that are coming along now will be like, okay, I want the real deal. I want it to happen. When's it going to happen? I think mid-October or so. I keep mentioning like Columbus Day, the new moon. Columbus Day is the 16th. The new moon is after that. Of course, Columbus Day is also Thanksgiving in Canada. But it's that time frame where I think you've finally hit that point, and it gives me the absolute chills when I go to say this. Like, that's it, where you could just scratch it off on your path. I will never go this way again. I am never going back there. Okay? And what does that have to do with relationships? It has to do everything with everything. Because when you get to that point, you're in that whole new life. You're getting ready to step into it, I really feel, by November. Maybe even as November begins. Because we'll see what happens when we're doing our weeklies and, doing a monthly for October and all the sun signs on Patreon and everything else. It'll start telling us what's going on. But there's definitely, around that third week of October, there's a change. So here you are. We're doing the 11th to the 17th of September. And we're starting to see this new cycle opening up. And that things are headed in that direction. We're finally, you're making headway, in other words. Whatever it is that you started off, equinox to equinox, what have you been trying to do? By the time the equinox comes next week, you've done something major. You're on your way. You're in this new thing already now, right now. And you're making things happen. Relationships are a very big part of this. Okay? It's necessary, to just, I don't want to say hang on, because boy, that would be the wrong word for many of you when it comes to relationships. But I think just the what you've survived type of thing, I think it makes the relationship stronger. It's better than having gone through it all together, which I know a lot of people have trouble comprehending that. But it's time for things to move forward. And we have several stops along the way, okay? And I know some people get upset with me, but I want to start talking way in advance. But I think when you want to talk major drastic change that's coming, it's probably going to be next April, May, and June. Okay? Like somewhere in there where it really starts like another cycle. So what's fascinating about this is that we're in a new cycle now. This week it really feels like it's starting up. And when you hit next week, you're really being propelled even more forward into the future. Okay. Yep. They're in my hand. The next card I turn over, you can never doubt this. It always works this way. So, there's a lot of patience that's coming. So, yeah, that when we change, so we're coming up to the equinox next week. And then this is going to sound funny, but I almost want to say that we're going to start talking about equinox to equinox again, rather than like solstice to solstice. Even though the two solstice, periods are very important, it seems like we're really in equinox mode right now. There's something major in your life manifesting come March, and probably about the third week when the equinox rolls around. Yeah. Okay. Now, right now, at this point in time, we're coming up to a new season. And this new season, you're totally, you're moving on. You're moving on with your life. You're making things happen. You're moving forward. I'm telling you, there is no doubt in my mind. And I do think that you're overcoming self-doubt and fear, which is wonderful. Learning to trust your intuition more and having the clarity to reach your goals. So while the fog might still be lingering this week, you are making progress. And like I said, you might have a moment where you're going, this just isn't going fast enough. If you think it's not, wait until next week when the new moon rolls around. Maybe this week is a good week to prepare for that new moon as well, because it will be a new moon, totally free of the eclipse season and with Mercury out of shadow. And it'll be a really good time to launch a new project in your life. So I want to thank you all very much for listening, and I'll see you here again real soon. Take care.